Hey, welcome to another edition of Talk to Tongie, and we're coming down to the end of the Soul Speak series. This particular series was really near and dear to me because I just wanted to see, is it possible that we truly, our soul, mind, will, and emotions, could we really control our mind? Can we really control our emotions and our will? And the answer is yes. It is unequivocally yes. The objective of this show, I wrote it down here, the objective was to listen and actively engage in a strategy that would do three things. One, identify the product that would be created and developed. Two, ask and answer the why, the how, and the when. And then three, to connect like-minded people, principled and disciplined people that can help in establishing the identified product. Remember the one that we talked about, the identify the product that would have us right there for the marketplace placement. Now, the objective, we've covered it, but we're going to break it down. Mona has a product that she created and developed, and that product was, Mona, what's your product?
My book, 30-Day Devotional, Overcoming.
Okay, so her book, Overcoming. The book is the product, right? It happens to be named Overcoming. And would you give us a soliloquy, just a brief soliloquy of exactly what the book is for, okay? And then I'll ask that other proverbial question on how we got here. So what is the book about? Just if you were doing a 45-second elevator pitch.
The book is a 30-day devotional, and it talks about healing in certain areas of your life and how to overcome in those areas. It has 10 topics, and each topic has 3 days, again, 30 days.
Perfect, absolutely perfect. Now, if you don't know who that was talking, that's Ramona Brown. And Ramona is my cousin. And my cousin has been birthed with ideas and creative ideas at that. And for us to be here through everything that we've had to go through to be here and see her realize a real book, that's amazing, absolutely amazing. So now I'm gonna ask the other lady that is here, Unique Davis, who are you? How do you play a significant role in my cousin's idea of her book, getting that manuscript out? What role do you play in that?
Well, I am honored to be the publisher responsible for just getting her book out there to the world.
I love it.
Praise
I
God.
absolutely love it. All right, now, the second part of the objective that I feel like we were able to realize is we're gonna ask and answer the why, the how, and the when. So Mona, why a book about devotion? Why?
I think that people need to be healed. I think that people need to be delivered. And in some cases, people don't know how to go about doing that. We have therapists, and we have our ministers and our pastors and our counselors, but at the same time, we have to know how to maintain the healing and deliverance. And I think this book will not only help you get started, but it will also help you to maintain it, because you'll be able to go back and do the exercises again. If you go a couple months down the road, you can open the book back up and start over. And for me, I see how I progressed over a period of time because my answers were not the same.
Good deal. So that's your why. Now, think about this, your how. And I know, right? how did you go within, because we're talking about the emotions, right? How did you go in there and pull out what needed to be pulled out?
With a lot of help from the Holy Spirit. A lot of help from the Holy Spirit. And for me, it's I know that if this helped me, that it could help somebody else. And that's how I was able to do it. I'm like, I know I didn't go through everything that I went through just for myself. Somebody else needs to hear this. Somebody else needs to know the steps. Somebody else needs to be able to pull this book open and say, oh God, I can do this. Thank you for helping. So that's one of the hows of how I got here. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then of course the when. When, I know, right? You started this book, you started this journey how many years ago?
Probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna throw it out there, okay? I'm gonna be the advocate here. In the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of what the world is seeing as an economic downturn, you come up with a book, man. So the when, why, I guess, why, how, when, why is it so important during this particular era?
Honestly, that's a really good question. I honestly cannot answer that.
Okay.
I just feel like God's timing is perfect. Like God, it was all God's timing. Being able to talk to you and you connected me with the apostle, God's timing. He knows everything. I honestly can't answer that.
Okay, but you just did.
Okay.
You just did. Honestly, you just did.
Okay.
All right. So, Unique, I'm going to ask you those same questions because this is really, really important. And it's important for the people that are watching that will be viewing this and will ask that question, you know, why can't I, or what's stopping me from X, Y, Z? And then it's good for you to know, because when you hear yourself say what you're about to say, it just does, it resonates in that soulish part of you. And I honestly believe it propels you forward and not backwards. So I'm going to ask you those same questions you need. Why? Why a publishing company?
Oh man, because it's needed, because it's necessary, and because in spite of everything that's going on around us today, God said what he said. And so everything that he's told us to do, everything that he's promised, everything that he desires to be out there, the platform that he desires that his people have, he said what he said in spite of everything that's going on around us. And so when Ramona, for example, was told to write her book, I was told to start this publishing company because God is God and he connects those dots for us. And so while we're, you know, there's no need even in us saying, okay, well, then when I do this, now what? Or then what? God says, you know, he's already has those things in place for us. And Ramona's testimony along with mine is just evidence of that. And so he desires, he's not giving anybody anything to do, any assignment that he has not already aligned, that he has not already provided perfect alignment for. And so that's why, because there are people like Ramona and so many others who have books, who have destiny, who have those babies in their wombs, and that just simply need to get out and be and you know, be assisted along the way, and just to have that platform.
Good deal. Thank you. Thank you so much. The how, you know, how do you do this? How, what does that look like?
The how, I mean, it's honestly just, it's not even as hard, I say, as people make it, or as you think, you know, how is it? But man, just strategy and the steps to take her work and simply look at it from an editor's perspective and from a publisher's perspective and even from a reader's perspective to make sure that every single person can follow along, that her content is clear, that she's expressing everything that she intends to express, tightening it up wherever it needs to be tightened up, making it look as beautiful as she envisioned it, and then just getting it out there to the public.
Wow. Then don't you feel some kind of way, Ramona? Seriously,
Oh,
don't you just...
man. You have no idea.
I know,
No
right?
idea.
I know. Oh, you're giving me chill bumps. All right. And the when, you know, we talked about the why, we talked about the how, but for you, Unique, for you, the when, like I said, you're in the middle of a pandemic. You're in the middle of a COVID-19, but here you are, you're established. So when was now, but I guess why when? If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and again, I think to me, it's just, again, because the timing of God has nothing to do with the times that we're living in.
Yeah.
The timing of God has nothing to do with the signs of the times and what we see. And again, I just believe that this is evidence of that. This is evidence of the fact that he said what he said and he meant it. And just because we are taken by surprise with the events of, 2020, he is not. And so doing what he says when he says to do it is imperative, because again, you never know when there's somebody. I had no idea there was a Ramona who needed, who was relying on my obedience.
Oh
You know
my
what I'm
God.
saying? And she had no idea there was a Unique who would be at the other end of her obedience.
Wow. Ladies. Wow. That's a book in and of itself. Obedience.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. So let's break down the construct of where we're going next. And I'm excited because with that, when you get that finished product, would you come back by here and show us exactly so we can kind of love on you and celebrate you, Ramona? Would you do that?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Without question.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, Unique, how engaged does Ramona have to be now that she's gotten the manuscript over to you? You're under the NDA, you're under the contract, and we'll go through that as well. But now what happens, if you don't mind?
Now basically the editing process is first and foremost. She and I have already had a conversation outlining just some of her options and what she is to expect from me in the coming weeks. But basically, again, her manuscript is under review as far as editing goes, and any suggestions or anything like that, I would then send it back to her, for approval. Because again, as an editor and as a publisher, I may tweak some things or just rearrange some sentences or some words just to enhance readability. But I never do that without, making the author aware, because this is their work. I'm not looking to take credit for it. And so basically, just that and formatting and getting her cover content down. And again, just at this point, it's all about just getting her approval throughout the process and keeping her up to date as far as what's going on.
Wonderful. So I want to ask Ramona, should there be anything that Unique, as the professional consummate that she is, after reading through everything and making a suggestion, are you open to, should you have to kind of tweak something or change something, or are you just a stoic saying, listen, this is what God said do, this is what I'm going to do, thank you for your suggestion, but I'm not interested?
Oh, absolutely open to whatever suggestions that she makes, because I know it's probably not perfect. I've had 5 or 6 eyes on it already, but another set of eyes is not going to hurt.
Wonderful. And that's so important. Seriously, it is, because and I don't know if you've ever seen it, Unique, but should you encounter someone who says, listen, this is divine, just like you're divine, I'm divine, I heard it, you know, what do you do in a situation as hypothetical as it is? It could happen.
Right, absolutely. Well, I've thought of that. I have other manuscripts that I'm working on, and one in particular is a children's book. And again, especially with that being a children's book, you know, again, I'm thinking in terms of the reader. And so while the story is lovely, you know, there's just some minor enhancements that will make it just more exciting to a child, you know. And so I made some suggestions and a few changes, and I sent it back, and I am prepared professionally to accept, you know, that this individual does not want my input. But, you know, again, this is it's not about me. This is God's doing. And he has honestly, the people that he sent me, the authors, the writers, are just some of the most beautiful people. And so, you know, by the grace of God, I don't believe that we'll have that. This is about relationship. It's about a partnership. And this isn't me saying, do this, and them saying, don't do that. But I believe that one of the ways around that is just to establish the relationship. I'm looking to make lifelong, professional long, you know, whatever relationships with people where they trust the God in me. And so that's how you get around that.
Wow. And you said it again, she's a professional, the consummate professional that she is. Always readily thinking before speaking. That's a wonderful characteristic to have. All right, ladies, we are all right from start to finish. You've done the work, Ramona, and you got to be commended on that. You know, to sit down and to write. I've been trying to do that, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got this to do, this to do, this to do. Would you just give me just a couple of pointers? And anyone who may be listening and saying, I know there's a book in me, I've got to get it out, but I've got the children, and, you know, I'm going through this, and oh my God, now this is due, and that's due. What would you say to someone who wants to be right where you are?
If you really want to do this, set your mind to it. Don't change your mind, and just carve out a few minutes, a couple of hours every day if you can, and just dedicate to that particular. And that's what happened with me. God told me a certain amount every day.
Happened in life. And so what I would first and foremost tell somebody prior to getting it to a publisher, any publisher, read and reread what you've written. What is your goal? What is the goal for the manuscript? What is your goal?
As someone who is going to be embodying that finished body of work, what would you tell someone or suggest to someone who says, okay, I'm doing the 2 hours like Ramona said, I'm sitting down, pen to paper or typing or what have you. Now I need to get it, you know, in the hands of this woman. What are the necessary steps to get to a Unique?
Yeah, you can actually just go right to the website, kingdomvoicepublishing.com. And right from there, you can just simply, there's like a button that says get started, and you can send me over your information. I've had individuals shoot me an email, send inquiries, and then we will talk and consult, and we'll just go from there. So yeah, absolutely. And another thing that I would add for some people is, I know when I wrote my first book, I wrote everything in my phone. To answer the second, the other question, I would say that, again, I don't see this as my company. I don't see this as my agenda. There's nothing that I do that is about Unique. And so put it in Word and then went through and doctored it up. But so, you know, we're busy, and they have Audible books, and they have all these different things that we have, because they don't believe like we believe, and because they don't speak how we speak, because they don't look how we look. But again, we forget how we used to look and how we used to talk and how we used to speak. And so for me, any and every everything that I do is about who God is and who I am in him, the office that I walk in. And so their journey to God, their journey to getting to know God could very well begin with me. It could begin with this simple act of love and kindness where I say, you know what?
Non-circumvent or some kind of, paperwork that will tell me that, listen, I'm giving you my light here.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the privacy policies are on the website as well. And those are absolutely, again, forms and things that we can get to. What I establish with authors is agreements. We don't, because I'm not taking your money. I'm simply helping you with the publishing process. So my agreements are simply that your royalties are 100% yours. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do this work. Your royalties are absolutely 100% yours. And again, for you to choose how you want to distribute and market and whatever else have you. So I don't necessarily have the legal contracts with all the verbiage that is foreign. It's really simple. This is an agreement between author and publisher that this is the work that I will do for you, and your book, your monies from your book are 100% yours.
That is so important. Thank you for that. Seriously,
Yes.
Thank you. I don't think I've heard of anything like that before.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so a different kind of publishing company, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Very good. All right. So this has been the Soul Speaks series. In the past shows, I mentioned that your soul is made up of your mind, your will, and your emotions. I said that your mind is that conscious part of you. Your will is the inner kind of desire. It's what do you say about the will? It's the moment of decision. The will, that moment of decision where you're internally kind of looking at everything, and then you're looking at what's going on the outside to make an informed decision. And then your emotions, and we have to be really, really careful about our emotions because we never want to make decisions, monumental decisions out of emotions that they really don't serve a place for you to make a decision. It just kind of lets off some steam if you're angry. We don't talk about being mad. Of course, I told you, when you're mad, you kind of act like a lunatic. But when you're angry, the Bible says be angry, but sin not. So angry is okay, but be careful with your emotions when you are making decisions that it could either catapult you to greatness or set you back maybe 5 or 10 years. And with that, mind, will, and emotions, just be astute, listen intuitively, and then go for that plan. Not just your passion, but that plan. That his plan becomes your plan, and it carries out, and you will begin to see that, you know what? He had it all the time. And I made my life so difficult. Am I talking about myself? Ladies, I have truly, oh my God. I'm so excited. I'm excited because one, you trusted me. How about that? You trusted me to carry your baby. And I don't take it lightly or for granted. I don't. Thank you so very much for that, Ramona. I'm just, thank you. Seriously, thank you. And thank you, Unique, for truly answering the call and saying yes when you didn't really know, okay, what does this entail?
Yeah.
And you did strategize and you did create and you brought it to the marketplace, just like we're doing with Ramona's book, bringing it to the marketplace. And I will ask you just one last time, how many weeks did you say it would be before she can actually see that product?
Oh man, 30 days. I mean, give me 4 weeks. 4 weeks tops. 4 weeks tops.
I love it. Okay, and Are you involved? I know I said the last question, but will your organization, will your company be involved once everything has been done and she has the product in hand? Will you kind of assist with, I guess, the product placement, whether it's Amazon, whether it's, you know, brick and mortar or Barnes and Nobles, or what does that look like?
Well, and again, and that's what makes us unique. I'm not, again, that's part of the consultation process where I outline for her, these are your options, but now this is where you then decide how you want to split your royalties. So now what I recommend, honestly, for authors is most authors, or some, will either create their own website to have their works available. Ramona and I have discussed that her works, she will have as many copies as and can always order, and her books will be available at kingdomvoicepublishing.com as well, and she will still receive every dollar that she makes off her book. Once the book is published, once it's printed, once she has it in hand, again, just to give a little bit, once we know how much it costs to create her book, she will then set her price point. She will then decide how much she will earn. And so again, things like that, Amazon and whatever have you, those are things that it's up to the author to consider. Those are the things that I put back into their lap, into their hands to consider. That's what I mean by 100% of your royalties, to choose what you want to do with it.
Gotcha. Wonderful. You hear all of this, right, Ramona?
Oh,
all right.
Yes, absolutely.
In your court.
Yeah.
Ladies, this has been an amazing journey.
Yeah.
It has, and again, I'm not going to cry, not today, I'm just not, nope.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for making a difference in my life and in the lives of people that will watch this, that will listen to it in their cars and what have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you in how many weeks now?
I know. This time next month, she'll see you.
I know, right? I know. Thank you, ladies. I love you to the moon and the stars.
Love you too.
And this has been Talk to Tongie. Don't forget, on Wednesday, we'll have an incredible show on the Dr. Tongie Show this Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You got to tune in. We'll be posting, and you'll get to see exactly who's going to be our special guest. Again, thank you so very much. Thank you for living life. Seriously, not just existing, but living. Bye.